Hey everybody, welcome to our February 16th webinar. My name is Brad Williams, managing partner here at Trade Ideas. Super excited here to show you the integration that we have inside of eSignal, letting you take advantage of the great idea generation that we offer at Trade Ideas, complemented with the fantastic charting tools and other products that eSignal offers. The two work very, very well together. So let's get started. First of all, I have to let you guys know we're a software technology provider. We're not an investment advisory service, so please know that any symbols that I talk about today should not be construed as investment advice, purely for educational purposes. So guys, we're going to keep this a little interactive today as well. You're welcome to go ahead and type in some questions in your chat box as we go along, and I'll address those as time permits, and also we'll save some time at the end to take some questions too. But we're going to get right to it and really talk about the value that Trade Ideas provides. This is really just about a 30-minute webinar, and then like I said, we'll take some additional questions. But what I want to accomplish here today is I want to make sure that everybody leaves today with an idea of exactly what Trade Ideas, what we do and how it can help you. How it can help you in your trading, both long and short term. I'm going to talk a little bit about what the default view is, the information that you're presented with initially, and how you have the ability to augment that information either through our predefined channels that we've created or through creating your own custom alerts and top list windows. And I'll show you a little bit about that as well. We'll talk about the workspace, and I'll make sure that everybody's aware of how you can go ahead and customize their layout and save it to the cloud so you can pull it back at any time in the future. So we'll get through all of that today. Let's really just focus what is Trade Ideas. We've been doing this for about 14 years. I'm one of the managing partners here, and in that time I've had a great opportunity to see our tool really change and augment itself into where we are today. 14 years ago we started off with just a single type of window, a single alerting tool, if you will, our alert window, which is really just a chronologically based alert that's going to give you a notification when something occurs. But over that 14 years, we've done some incredible stuff with market data. This is not just an alert and scanning tool. It's really a platform within a platform as you have it within eSignal. And so when I say that, we do some incredible things with market data, and I want to make sure that everybody understands what we do and how we create market data in the process. So to start off, a little bit of high-level architecture of what Trade Ideas does. We are connected directly to the exchanges, and we collect this market data. It comes into our data center in San Diego from a variety of disparate sources, the NYSE, the NASDAQ. We get Canadian data, options data, social data from our partners at StockTwits, bring it all together. And what we do with that data is really unique. We create statistical baselines on every single stock, on every single time frame. And effectively what that allows us to do is identify arbitrage opportunities when something's happening abnormal to the stock, being able to identify that opportunity, alert it to you in real time, and really give you an opportunity to participate in those moves. There's some incredible moves happening in the market every single day, whether the market's up, whether the market's down. And so Trade Ideas does a fantastic job of showing you that, whether it's price action or volume related, social, and I'll talk about some of the real interesting data points that we have, just to highlight one of them. And we're right here in this section of our presentation. And I'll get into the software here in a little bit, but the data that we create is really unique. Relative volume happens to be one of those data points, and relative volume is super interesting because it lets us know via a numerical value what kind of volume is taking place right now, cumulative in a stock at this point in time. So whether it's 9:30 in the morning, whether it's 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you know exactly what kind of volume that stock is doing in comparison to normal. So that's just one of the unique data points that we have, but I've got a whole slew of them, and I'll point them out as I go through the software for you. Strategy creation, that's something that's super unique because we allow you to not only take our channels and our workspaces that we've made, but we allow you to augment those, to customize it to your own, as well as really craft strategies from scratch. So once you're familiar with the way Trade Ideas works, the different alerts and filter mechanisms that we have, you have the ability to go in and really customize and create an alerting window or a top list window exactly to your liking. Then we also have, over the course of these 14 years, we put in a lot of different visualization tools. One of the tools is our Oddsmaker, which is our event-based backtesting tool. This allows you to create a strategy and see exactly how that strategy would have performed had you gone back over the last quarter of data and performed a set of instructions. Maybe it was to buy anytime the alert was triggered and hold it for a certain period of time with some profit target and risk management protective stops in there. And then we give you an output it lets you know exactly an equity curve of how you would have performed, how your account would have performed had you executed the set of instructions that you set out to do. And you have the ability to change that all along the way, change your strategy, change your instructions, and really come up with a strategy that's working in the marketplace. And then I'll talk a little bit about the configuration. I'm also not on this list right here. I'm also going to talk a little bit about where we're going with trade ideas in the future and some of the upgrades that are going to be coming into the eSignal platform and offerings that you can get right now from a direct subscription to trade ideas. Specific to why this is so important inside of the real powerful eSignal application is that we're scanning everything all the time. We're not limited to a certain number of symbols. And inside of your eSignal application, you can only have a watch list of a certain number of symbols, but moreover, you're only able to really manage, through your own eyesight, a certain number of symbols and really take control of that universe. But with trade ideas, we're doing all of this on the back end. So we don't have a limitation. We're scanning thousands of symbols that are out there that could potentially be moving, and then delivering that to your desktop, allowing you to bring that up on an eSignal chart or a news window or their social window, any of those particular tools. So that's a good value that we have inside. Now, also, let me talk a little bit about the pricing, because I kind of don't want to get through the whole webinar and have someone not really aware of the value that we're providing with this integration with eSignal. So trade ideas, if you were to go into the open market to our website and subscribe to our service, you're going to pay $100 a month. That's for the alert and scanning technology. And then you're going to be able to, you're going to have to pay another one-time fee to get the backtesting component. That's an $1,100 one-time fee. And you get all of that really bundled into an integrated solution with eSignal for $49.99 a month. So it's a great value. eSignal is really supplementing that quite a bit. So it's a great value for the subscribers that have the eSignal tool. So $49.99, and also you do get a month-long demo of the tool. If in fact you found that your demo has expired, then we will be more than happy to go ahead and extend that for you, so you have an opportunity to take a look at the software in real time. Because while we do allow you to go in and run historical queries after the market and see exactly what would have triggered had you been watching your strategy in real time, it's really the power of being able to view this in real time to be able to capture the potential alpha that exists out in the marketplace. So what I'm showing you right here, this is the default view that you get when you actually load up the eSignal application version 12 and greater. And Trade Ideas has a default view experience in here. And what we're looking at, really every symbol that you're seeing in the Trade Ideas component, and that's the left side of the screen right here, these are all stocks that are being talked about much more than normal on social media. And this is really access to our channel bar. And our channel bar is really pre-configured workspaces that we've put together. We've configured these windows to the best of our capability to really identify really interesting setups and opportunities in the market. So specifically to this view right here, this contains really two different Trade Ideas windows stacked one over the other. The top window is a top list window, and this is something that's giving us a ranked list of stocks based upon the filtered criteria that we're looking for. This particular window is really looking for stocks that have a tremendous amount of volume right now that are being talked about much more than normal on social media. That's this column that we see right here to the right, the StockTwits relative activity. As I mentioned, we're connected to the StockTwits data source, so we know not only how much a stock is being talked about in the social Twitter sphere, but also how much more than normal or less than normal it's being spoken about. And when you combine that data point with other data points, volume data points, the change for the day, you really get a very unique view of the market. So while I'm looking at stocks here that are being talked about far more than normal, these are also being traded far more than normal, indicative by the relative volume column. Again, this is probably my best filter, so I want to make sure everybody understands it, this data point. A relative volume value of 1 means normal volume at this time of day. So when you pull up a stock that's doing 380 times its normal volume, there's something significant happening there. And it's happening here. You know that this value is super high, but it's confirmed when you look at the chart, when you look at the volume bars on the intraday, the volume bar on the daily. But the idea is to not just have this information at your disposal after the market's over. It's to have this information at your disposal while the market's going on, so you can have an opportunity to participate in the move. So that's our top list window, and I'll go deeper into these particular windows, but all of these columns are sortable that allow you to bring different data points really to your top of mind. And you could really quickly sort on the percent change to have all of the contents that are already in this window just reshuffled and resorted to give you a different view. And then of course, all of the windows are linked. So if you click on a particular symbol, it'll update the chart, the news, the StockTwits window down the bottom right. All of this is really interconnected to try to give you a really cohesive experience as you're scanning the market. This bottom window right here, again, the premise is it's being talked about more than normal in social media, but this is a real-time multi-stream of information. Essentially what it has are 20 plus different unique strategies that are all color-coded, so it's a unique color, and you can see each one of these is a unique strategy listening in the market for something to occur, whether it's a stock making a 52-week high, having an unusual up move over a 15-minute period of time, crossing a moving average, high social mentions, a very large range for the day. These are all the kinds of things that we're scanning for in real time. And this window down at the bottom is really just a chronological list of events that are happening. And when a new event happens, it's going to come to the top of the window here. And I'm going to then have an opportunity to click on it, look at the chart, and make a trading decision right here and there. So that's our channels view, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I demonstrate the software. I think this one here is just specifically focusing on that the social media channel. If we come here to the streaming views, now I talked a little bit about the multi-strategy window, which is really one of our newer innovations in the life cycle of trade ideas. We started out with this one view right here, the alert window, which is really coming up with a concept, putting your alert in there or one or more alerts and putting a bunch of filters, and then you have a window, and this is a strategy, if you will. But this took up a lot of real estate, and it still has value of a single window, but it took up a lot of different little space on your screen. So we created this multi-strategy window to be able to drop in a window like this, but be able to put 20 different windows. So down big yesterday, but up big today is just one of those strategies that could be popped into a multi-strategy window. So you only need one single container rather than a bunch of different windows. I talked a little bit about the top list, which is that ranked list of stocks, but we've also created a visualization window, and that's what you see here, this compare count window. It's really giving you the ability to see what's happening in the market right now. Not is the market up or down, but are people buying stock right now or are people selling stock? So at any point during the day, we give you the ability to clear this out, to refresh the view so you can get a real fresh view. This may be cumulative from the start of the market today, where 52% are buyers, 47% are sellers. But if I start it fresh 5 minutes ago, there may be an entire different view. Maybe a bounce is happening in the market, and while the market's still down, maybe all this buying pressure is coming in. And this is the type of window that gives you that visualization and that alerting. So also, I mentioned earlier, we have this event-based backtesting tool, the Oddsmaker. And the Oddsmaker, it's really unique because when you're talking backtesting in our space, most people talk about taking a single symbol, running it back over a 10-year period and seeing how it is that you can possibly exploit, that particular symbol in the market. And what we do is, quite a bit different. We're looking at event-based backtesting. Our system or these windows don't really care what symbols can possibly come through. It's looking at a strategy, and you create that strategy and then you run it back over the last quarter's worth of data, and it'll let you know visually exactly how you did with that strategy. Profit factor, sum total of all your winning trades over sum total of all your losing trades. It gives you metrics as to the number of total trades, the average winner to the average loser. So these are all the data points that we allow you to model, and it's what we're doing right now through our organic subscriptions, people that come directly to our site. We've created an AI engine that utilizes this Oddsmaker technology, but effectively our computers are running after the market closed through the entire night, coming up and modifying strategies based upon the current market conditions, using a complete in-sample and out-of-sample data set to ensure that there's no curve fitting taking place. And I'll touch a little bit upon that at the end and show you where we're going. And we do see this being migrated into the eSignal Trade Ideas integration at some point in the future, but right now it's just available through our website. All right, so let's close this down right here, and let's get right into the product. So let me pull up eSignal. And this is where we have. Now, I have to apologize to everybody, first of all, because for some reason, right before the presentation today, I loaded the software up and I wanted to go through and make a few changes to my account, and I opened up the welcome screen and nothing came up. So I need to definitely have my development team take a look and see if this is on our side or if this is on the eSignal side, but regardless, we need to get that resolved. But that shouldn't prevent me from being able to describe the tool and how it can benefit you in real time. So I'm going to that's for full disclosure right there on the welcome screen, but we should get that taken care of real quick. There are two different ways to load up trade ideas. So there's the trade ideas trial, and then there's also, for the people that have paid for it, the trade ideas premium. So like I said earlier, if you find that your trial has expired and you haven't had an opportunity to tinker around and see the power of trade ideas, let me know. Send me an email either to info@trade-ideas.com or brad@trade-ideas.com, and I'll put that up at the end so you have our contact info, and we'll go ahead and reignite that demo for you. Okay, so what we're looking at right here is one of our channel windows. Everything can be accessed either from the welcome screen when it's working, or from these other options that we have here on this drop-down. So we're looking at the channel view right here, and the channel, like I said in the earlier presentation, these are really pre-configured workspaces that we've put together, and they're pretty uniquely customized. So like, for instance, if I was to stretch this out right here, everything will accommodate the size that I'm looking for. Right here, I can have it so that it's not maximized in the window container, or I can have it maximized. So just so you know how to be able to manipulate the window, drop that right there. So you can cycle through the different channels that we have. This was a channel I was looking at earlier, which was our surge channel, and I'm trying to think about what time. I think it was around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm on the West Coast, and I was going through, and some great symbols were coming through at that time, and I kind of wrote a few of them down. And each one of these windows, you do have the ability to right-click in here, hover over history, select a time frame, so you can look not only at real time, but you can look at the historical representation of what would have occurred had you been watching it at some previous point in time. But some of the symbols that I was watching, ASCMA, so this one had just some tremendous moves in it today. And if you look at where the low was, $9, this one went up to $12. Pretty good move for that price of a stock. And these are the types of moves that we're finding in real time. There's a lot of volume that took place on this particular stock today. You can see by the daily volume bars, probably twice if not 3 times the normal average volume bar, and it's indicative here on the intraday candles as well. So finding stocks that are breaking out, making new highs, especially after being beaten up over a longer period of time, is perfectly suited for what trade ideas and specifically the surge channel allows you to find. Another one that I was looking at, and actually I found this one in the social media channel. This one was being talked about far more than normal, in addition to having a lot more trading volume happening. But this was something that I found really interesting. And one of the setups that I look for, at least recently, is things are beaten up quite a bit in the market, and I like to find those stocks that are just getting ready to turn around, that are starting to have some life, some volume being fed into it. So those are kind of the setups that I look for. Coming over here, another one, CUB. This was one that I found on the surge, and it just continued all day. It was a real nice identification, and the nice thing about many of the windows in the surge channel, there's a lot of confirmation that you'll see. You may see something here in the high volume movers window, and then you may see it again coming through in the strongest of the highs. Maybe an instantaneous volume surge also happened. And so when you have that confirmation of different symbols, that's really a good sign, in my opinion, as well. So another few symbols that I pulled up. This one here got beaten up on a huge gap down, but it came through as something that was really, obviously it had high volume today because of the gap down, but it had also tremendous trading opportunity if you were able to spot any of the turn. Again, it was a pretty good range, $2 of a range right here. Hopefully you weren't caught in that one overnight. QUOT, another one that I found here on the surge channel. Just again, good ranges. Now today was a good day in the market. We gapped up and we had some strength, and that's always a good sign. So moving to the surge channel on a day like that, shows some really great opportunities. And then one of the last ones that I noted before was Cray, and that may have been up on the screen again, but it's just another incredible move. You're looking at 34.50 here where it opened, and that thing got up to $40 plus, during the day. And a lot of great things. Another huge volume. Again, I like to look for things that have accompanying volume, and Trade Ideas is a great way of being able to identify that. A couple other data points that I was talking about earlier with respect to metadata, derived data, data that we create. Relative volume is one of them, but in this view right here, there are a couple other ones. Like for instance, today's range. This is giving me a percentage on how big is that daily bar today, the distance between its low and its high, and comparing that to normal. So, GNRC right here, this range right here from the high to the low, that's 3.5 times normal, or 350% of normal. So those are significant bits of information, new information that a lot of times you can't get in other platforms. Position in the range. This is giving me a numerical value on where that stock is in relationship to its intraday high and low. So I can see GNRC, just based on this value here, closed pretty close to its high of the day. It may have just been a couple ticks off of its high at a position of 98. All of these right here, because I'm sorting on it, these are all stocks that are closed relatively close to their high of the day. So again, just another data point that's unique to Trade Ideas. Active trading. So here's just another channel that's really interesting, because in addition to giving you a fully comprehensive volume window here, and I'm talking comprehensive because it's looking at volume on different time slices. It's looking at it on a 5-minute basis, on a 30-minute basis, cumulative for the day, also how it's doing on a ratio perspective right now compared to normal, and then total volume. So you can sort on any of these different criteria to instantly see, what stocks really have the biggest 5-minute volume right now, or any of these particular categories that you want to look at. Then we have that multi-strategy window below that's taking a look at a derived data stream. If I right-click in here and hover over strategies, you can see all the different events that we are looking for. And like I said, 52-week highs and lows, crossing 200-day or above or below the moving average, high volume, upward and downward intraday moves, long-term lows. We can incorporate earnings into it, extreme climactic moves, block trades, volatility. So all of these different strategies are all embedded into this one window. So when something happens, you're just going to get signaled. So there was a high volatility 5 times daily range bar. Now this is kind of a thin stock, and you probably wouldn't even want to touch this thing, but if you're looking here at the volume today in shares, to stay away from these guys and go into something that may have a little bit more volume and worthy of your attention. And then these 2 top list windows on the bottom really do illustrate really the unique nature of trade ideas. So a top list window, it can give you things like the stocks that had the biggest percentage gainer for the day, or the biggest percentage losers for the day, the highest volume for the day, the standard top list. So while this can do all of that, it does a lot more. What we're looking at in these 2 windows, well, let me talk about this window on the left right here. This window on the left is looking for pullbacks on winners. So every single stock in this list right here is up big for the day. These are all making a significant move from yesterday's close. 21%, 8%, 16%. So these are the kinds of moves. But what I'm sorting on here is I'm looking at what is pulled back, what's moved back over the biggest percentage over the last 30 minutes. So, market's still strong. Maybe I want to go long, but I don't want to be buying these breakouts. I want to try to buy a pullback, and that's the way the professionals do it, and we allow you to really take a look at that information, so you're not always looking for stocks that are making the highs of the day and you're getting in only to realize there's a nice pullback coming in. This is allowing you to participate in those pullbacks. And just like we have that window on the left, this one right here is stacked full of losers, stocks that aren't doing very well today, but maybe I want to short it and I want to get in on that bounce, so I'm not getting such a low price. Just another way to use market data. And that shows you how we can take standard stuff, like if I go to the gainers channel right here, looking for stocks that are not only gaining, having a big gain today, but also for the month, and then really creating a stream out of those information. So here, this happens to be making a 52-week high on high relative volume. Yeah, that came up earlier. So these are the channels, and the channels are great because if you wanted to, for instance, take this monthly gainers window, I'm going to go ahead and right-click and I'm going to pop it out. This just kind of shows you some of the flexibility. Also, let me go ahead and I'm going to close the channel window right now. I popped out that other window. So now I have this window that says monthly gainers. So now what I can do, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit, and I'm going to right-click and go into configure. And maybe I want to look for something like, well, instead of a monthly gainer, so we're changing 20 days, maybe I want to find things that have changed the most over the year. And so I'll change the sort order there and just make sure that I've got the right filters. Let's hide the unused and make sure I've got everything I want. So now I'm really going to be sorting. Let me change the name. So I'm going to call this yearly gainers. And that kind of illustrates how we take a window that was created in one of our channels that we've done and how you can kind of make that your own. So a few other things I need to do. I was kind of premature. I want to go ahead and make sure I add some columns as well. So here, let's do change in 1 year. And I'm going to add this, and I'm going to add this to a column. So we've already got the server sort. Now I can hit OK. I'm going to have one more column in here that I can sort on from the client side perspective. So here's my change in 1 year. And a completely different list of stocks, right? This is going to be a stock that's going to have a real big significant percentage change over the course of the year. So let me do this. I also want to show you the let's load it from the cloud, and I want to load up, I want to do a back test for you guys, and that'll lead us into the AI that we're working on over at Trade Ideas. So we're going to do an optimized strategy, and I'll explain real briefly what we're looking for in this alert window. This alert window is looking for really an unusual down move, something that moved down far more than normal, and we're going to hypothetically buy that down move and sell it 45 minutes later and we're going to put in a 50-cent protective stop. So if that stock moves against us 50 cents or more, we're going to just get out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in this window right here. And before I do that, let me just go into configure so you can see the setup that I have. If I go to the summary, it's probably easier. I'm using a standard deviation breakdown alert. That's just the trigger event that's going to send it to my window. But all these other filtered criteria need to be satisfied. So the stock needs to be within this certain price range, dollar volume, yada yada. So all these other criteria need to be satisfied. And then, for instance, today, if I hover over history and I just select today, looks like there was just maybe one symbol that triggered today. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and backtest the strategy. And this is telling us, this is our set of instructions that we're feeding to the computer. We're telling it, I don't want to trade the first 5 minutes of the day. So we're going to start at 9:35, and I'm not going to initiate any positions during the last hour of the day. The timed exit, we're going to say we're going to hold this for 45 minutes, and I could hypothesize to a certain time of day, a different number of minutes, or even holding it for a couple of days. I could put that information in as well. Risk management here, we're going to close out of the position if it goes against us 50 cents, and that's it. And let's go ahead and simulate the buy. And now what it's doing is going to our server and it's crunching all this data and saying, okay, what symbols would have triggered in this window over the last 3 months, and had I held it for 45 minutes and employed these different protective measures, how would I have done? And crunching, it tells us, it's about a little over 90% done, the number of trades that it's going through. And keep in mind, I could go right back into this window and I could change some parameters, price points, volume requirements, anything, and run it again. And this is how you can effectively create a strategy. And it gives you an equity curve based on some assumptions. The assumption is we're going to be trading 100 shares every time that a symbol triggers. The commission that we're putting in, let's make our slippage a little bit more realistic to like 8 cents or something like that. And so now I've got my top line, that's my net, or that's my gross, then I add commissions into it, then I add slippage, and this is really the bottom line that I come up with. If I was to do this strategy, faithfully, anytime a symbol is triggered, buy it within 8 cents of where it triggered, that's what my slippage is indicating, and sell it within 8 cents of whatever point the system tells me to sell it. So it's a quality strategy. Some of the stocks that come through are a little thinner, they're not as liquid, and they may be more difficult to get. But this is effectively, it's utilizing this kind of tool and being able to go through the optimization area and really be able to go through all the different filters that we have inside of the software to find out what's the best value to put in a particular area. So while you can go through this, it's a pretty, it's a time-consuming effort. It's something that's not easy to do, to come up with a great strategy. But what we did is we put our computers on the task, and we have them going through a bank set of strategies every day and optimizing those strategies, and then having them compete for being able to participate the next day. So I know it's a lot of gobbledygook, but let me pull up the software. This is our downloadable, so you can see kind of how it manifests itself. So in the downloadable, looks just like what you have inside of eSignal. You've got the channel bar. You have some very basic charts. These aren't eSignal charts, so we're not feeling like this is any type of competition, but it does give you that visualization experience. And what I'm looking at right here is our AI channel, and our AI we call Holly. It comes from Holy Grail, or Holy Grail rather, and a pretty unique process of what's happening. These are the strategies that made the cut last night. And so, like I said, there are about 30 different strategies that our computers are looking to each day to modify, to make them more effective based on the current market conditions. And then at the end of every day, where these strategies are modified and created, they then compete with each other, where only the best of the best make it through. And a lot of times that's just simply based upon the market conditions. But we get a nice mix of short trades and long trades. And here today we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different strategies possibly provide events. But of those 7, only 4 of them produced trades that you could have traded. And we give you the metrics right here. We're starting off with, I just showed you the Oddsmaker. This is giving me the historical kind of Oddsmaker representation of the strategy. The mob long, and mob being the mob mentality, the social mentality, this is a social strategy, has done 68% winners over the historical nature of this particular strategy. This right here happens to be that that calendar heat map kind of just turned into a linear view. So each one of these little rectangles represent a day, and depending upon how green it is really how profitable you were. And so this is our historical mention, but today, of those strategies that triggered, you know, this mob long, there were only 2 trades today. Both of them were winners, so this happened to be 100%. And of the other 3 strategies that triggered, not too many trades were fired today, but 50% of escalation exhibit was successful, 50% of the support is at you, and 50% of the opening range breakdown. And essentially, this is the channel view, gives you real-time signals. During the day, when a new trade is initiated, it populates here in the open position. And it lets you know, based upon what strategy it was, what your expected hold time for it, and what your stop loss and what your profit target. So telling you right up front what these different metrics are. And the smart stop is a real unique value to trade ideas. The smart stop is something that is calculated based upon the stock's relative volume, the stock's volatility, and the stock's range for the day. And it takes a metric based upon those different variables and creates an algorithm, if you will. So every stock is going to be a little bit different. If, for instance, I wanted to look at, let's say, DRD, this happened to be a 16-cent loser, but if I was to right-click on here and send this to our single stock window, I can see here DRD was trading 4.5 times normal volume today, and that equated to, on a pretty cheap stock, a $3 stock, a 25-cent smart stop. So every stock has a stop that's really applicable to the flavor of the day for its action, for its price action. But yeah, this is our AI, and this is where, you know, we're going with trade ideas. We're not only giving you the ability to utilize our tools for alert and scanning, but we're also utilizing those very same tools and those very same data points by sticking artificial intelligence on it. And you know, we just released this about 2 months ago. Just came out of beta, I want to say a week or 2 ago. And we're really excited about the prospects of it and where we're going with this. So you know, from my perspective, I've kind of rambled on for about 40 minutes, and if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to take those. Is our software Apple compatible? So with respect to the integrated version inside of eSignal, we're utilizing an HTML5 component of that. So from that perspective, yes, we have a web-based version which is compatible with Apple. Our downloadable is not, but I have a Mac, and I also utilize Parallels, the virtual machine, to be able to get the full functionality of the application in that. I have to be honest, though, I'm not sure if eSignal works with a Mac. If it does, then you should have no problem using trade ideas. So David's got a question here. If I have a subscription to Trade Ideas, does the Holly strategy come with the software? Is it extra? So this is a premium feature to Trade Ideas. So Trade Ideas, so let me describe it in 2 different ways. So you're getting an eSignal, with an eSignal subscription to Trade Ideas, you're getting really 1/2 of the premium value. You're getting the backtesting component. We haven't created the AI in the integrated version of eSignal yet. But if you're using our downloadable version, there are a few bits of functionality that are reserved for the premium subscribers. Those are subscribers that paid the one-time fee of $1,100 for the Oddsmaker, which if you have done that, then you also get the AI, and there are a few other things that you get too. So real briefly, we're tinkering with a new programming language that gives us the ability to find or to create strategies that are not creatable inside of Trade Ideas Pro through the alerts and filters that we have. So this drop down right here is a proof of concept, really, that we've gone into another tool that doesn't have any type of requirements for alerts and filters, and really coded a window that's very unique and not really codable inside of Trade Ideas. So what I'm saying here is that we've opened up a new language for premium subscribers of Trade Ideas. That's one thing. The other thing, which I think is probably one of the coolest innovations that we have coming out, is our limit alerts feature. And our limit alerts is integrated right now through our charting. For instance, if I want to be alerted to this stock when it wakes up, it got beat up today and it's making lows, but what happens when this stock starts to break out again? I can right click on the chart and I can select create a limit alert, and I can modify this price if I want, but let's just keep it at 360. And I'm going to put a note, look at me. Okay, and I could put in an expiration date. If a week from now I'm not even interested, if it doesn't happen within a week, let's cancel it. Also, if it comes down and it hits a certain price, maybe it hits $2.50, maybe my whole theory is washed away and I don't even care to look at it anymore. So I can put that bit of functionality into it. Once I save it, I've got my limit alert window, which will pop up when that event occurs. It also creates an annotation on the chart. So you can see the annotation that was created right here, and when that gets breached, I'll have a signal. So there are some things that are reserved for the premium functionality. That's one of them. And then something coming a couple months out is our trade journal. And our trade journal is going to give you the ability to log your trades and then utilize the kind of analysis that we provide you with the Oddsmaker to be able to do that on your trades, to look at your trades and say, wow, I'm not very successful on a Monday, or I'm definitely not successful before 8 a.m. Again, I'm on West Coast time. So, this is the kind of information that it'll provide you. And so we're really excited about that as well. 14 years and we're continuing to innovate. Now, nothing's stagnant at Trade Ideas. If anything, the stuff's just getting more and more cool. So really excited about that. All right, guys, any other questions? So there's going to be an email. I've recorded this, so there should be a replay of it if you maybe tuned out or did something else. So as far as options, I do have a question with respect to options. I have an options channel right here. Let me dive into my options channel. And on the options channel, we do some interesting stuff with options. It's we create our statistical baseline for normal option activity during the day. So we can tell at any time when there are an inordinate amount of options being transacted. That would be this particular column right here, which is our options volume today on a percentage. So if you were to look at something like PRE, this is doing 4,000 or 40,000% of normal options volume, and that could be because maybe it doesn't do very many options, and today it just did a few. And the options volume today was pretty significant, though. It was 15,000 contracts, which is far more than normal. And then we allow you to create strategies using that information. So these are some of the strategies that we put together, moving higher with unusually strong options volume, and we segmented that option volume here on different percentages. So moving higher and moving lower on these three different thresholds, 150, 200, and greater than 300%. Another thing you can do is you can always go into a configure window, go to the search tab, and type in options, and you can see the different filters that we have as it pertains to options. So let me pop up this slide right here. Certainly if you guys have some more questions, let me know. But I'm going to give you this info right here. You can check us out on Twitter. You can check us out on Facebook. The email address is, again, info@trade-ideas.com, or myself, send it to me, brad@trade-ideas.com. Here's our phone number. All right, guys, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy afternoon. It's really been my pleasure to show you this integration. And until next time, have a great one.